All right, Ricochet, we're here at the airport with Robert J. Marks II, PhD, the Distinguished Professor in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at Baylor University. And he's going to give us his reflections on the Great Expectations Conference, remembering to preserve the confidentiality of our mystery participants.
Our mystery participants, yes. I guess the thing that I really liked about conferences of this sort is the cross-disciplinary exchange that we get. I'm an electrical engineer specializing in things like computational intelligence, signal processing, image processing, and such. And it's really good to know about what's going on in the area of biology and the cutting edge and how our different fields interface.
You know, what you offer to a conference like this, how you are participating in your specialty, I think that would be quite interesting for you to explain.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, I'm an engineer. We actually do design things. So if you're going to talk about engineering and design, you need an engineer there. Second of all, there's a very different philosophy. I maintain that generally science takes their models and their way of doing things, and they are very interested in just the beauty of what they're doing. They place it on a throne, they protect it, they worship it like a queen, whereas engineers make the queen come down from the throne, scrub the floor, and if she doesn't work, we fire her. So we're very practical in the sort of things that we do. I think for that reason that intelligent design, for example, is much more accepted among engineers than it is through some of the biologists and some of the different sciences.
So?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Is that sort of I didn't realize that. Do you think that's...
Yeah, because you can say, look, it works. They go, yeah, you're right, it does work. Okay.
Okay, so tell me about your paper, the one you presented.
Well, here's kind of a general view. We have in the area of science looked at things such as matter. We know all about matter, Newton's laws and quantum mechanics, and we know about energy and chemistry and biology. But one of the things which is ubiquitous in our universe is the idea of information. Yet information is a word which is used very loosely in the area of biology and other areas. There is a specific engineering definition for engineering, or for information, as pioneered by Shannon and Chaitin and Kolmogorov. However, these are inadequate to really describe the information that we see. So one of the things that we want to do is look at new models of information that will capture what we know intuitively is going on. And that's the area in which I'm interested, and also the area in which we did the paper here.
Well, don't be shy. Tell them.
Well, one of the things that we have done, I think, which cannot be disputed, is we have shown that all biological models of evolution which have been implemented in computer code only work because the information has been front-loaded into the program.
This is really important.
And the evolutionary process in itself creates no information. In fact, in each of the cases, we'd have been able to look at the source of information in the computer programs, extract the same results as evolution using other more efficient programs. So the evolution is simply a way of tapping into a reserve, like an oil reserve, and you can either tap into an oil reserve by digging with a spoon or with a drill.
You know, I'm going to interrupt for a second because there were questions in response to previous posts on Ricochet about the notion of information, about how you define it. So maybe I could ask you to offer a definition of information, a short working definition for the purpose of the discussion.
Well, let me tell you about Shannon information.
Yeah,
Claude Shannon, 1948. He decided that there were two things that information needed, and this is so-called Shannon information. Number one is the probability went down, the information came up. If I tell you, for example, that the sun is going to come up tomorrow, I've conveyed very little information because the probability of the sun coming up tomorrow is very high. If I tell you, on the other hand, that the sun is going to go supernova tomorrow, that's a very low probability and tells you a lot of information. He also concluded that information must be additive. If you have a stuttering professor Stuttering tells you an amount of information. Professor tells you amount of information. Then professor, which I am, should have you an information which is the sum of the two components. So information should be additive. And from this, he showed that there was one and only one mathematical formulation that could define information, and it was minus the log of the probability. And from this, he was the first one to use the concept, in fact, the terminology and publication of the word bits. He coined that in 1948 as the definition of Shannon information theory. So that's one concept. The Kolmogorov-Chaitin sort of concept is much different. It is a different theory of information, and we need additional theory of information which is able to capture some of the things that we talk about when we talk about information.
Right. And your paper, the point of it, summarized in a minute.
The point of it is that in the different programs that we looked at, which included Evida, which was a topic of the Dover trial, and of EV, and
Want to explain what Evida is? Because not everyone will know.
Okay, Evida is a program which purported to demonstrate evolution, and it was there was testimony at the Dover trial that indeed it was creating information, and that this was evolution. In fact, I forget who the person testifying was, but they said, "Is this simulate evolution?" He said, "No, this is evolution," and we have shown that the evolution, in fact, is kind of interesting to look at, but the outcome is very unremarkable. In fact, the information source that made possible the working of Evida was actually implanted, infused into the algorithm, and the only thing that the evolutionary process did was extract this information. And we can go to, in Evida and these other programs, we can go to this source of information to be able to extract the information using other techniques and do it much more efficiently.
I think that's great.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you feel you really want to communicate in a
Well, I would like to
second or two?
I would like to confirm with the rabbi that I think that the people who are interested in this field of intelligent design are many times labeled. And usually labeling comes from people who don't have the intellectual capacity to involve themselves in debate. They do name calling and other such things, and the people here were not like that. These were some of the most intelligent, informative presentations that you would see at any conference, and I've been to literally hundreds of conferences. So it was a very high-level exchange, and it was a delightful experience. I learned a lot. I'm taking a lot back with me. I've formed some relationships, and we hope to do some cross-disciplinary sort of stuff, and this is going to be doing some very good
That's
things.
great. Okay, thank you so much.